guys, Dave here with 72 Sold. I have a guest with me, and as you know, I sell real estate, and I have somebody here that lends on real estate. It's Mike Aldridge from Pacific West Lending. Thank you for being here. I have questions. Do you have answers?
Go ahead, Dave.
All right.
I have answers. Yes.
So they're saying the people that say things that we talk about, we never know who they are. So they're saying things like the market has shifted. I know that since March and today rates have gone up. They've doubled from 3 to 6%. So with that, we have seen a decline in buyer activity, sales. The demand for property has gone down. The supply has gone up in the Phoenix market. And this is fairly consistent with across the country from what I understand. And listing agents are starting to panic maybe a little bit, and they want to know. They're starting to think of creative ways to market properties now that, you have to do a little bit more than just hang a sign out in the front yard to get it sold. So talk about doing buy downs. What does that exactly mean? How does that benefit a listing agent? And what is that going to cost a seller to do that?
Well, let's start with first, what is a buy down? So a buy down is also called discounting the interest rate. So what happens is, for instance, let's say a par rate, which is nobody making any money on a transaction, is 5.5%. And the borrower would like to have a rate of 5.25. There's a cost to buy the rate down to 5.25. And it's hard to exact it because different investors we sell loans to have different pricing models. But to make it simple, today at 5.25, to buy it down to just under 5, like 4.875, would be about 75 basis points, or 0.75% of the loan amount. You would multiply the loan amount times 0.75, and that would be the cost. So you had a $400,000 loan. It's not super expensive, and if I'm a real estate agent and a listing agent, I might want to suggest that to my sellers that, hey, here's a good way to attract buyers. Offer a discount point or discount to get the rate below 5%.
So let's just say around number 1% of the loan amount, we're talking $4,000.
Right.
To buy it down. So that doesn't sound too bad.
No.
Because I think what that can do is, it expands the ability, so people that got priced out of the market, now that you're bringing them back in. Am I understanding that correctly?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because let's just say we've got, I ran a scenario before we got started, and I used a purchase price of $650,000 and a loan amount. My loan amount is $520,000, so that's 80%. That's a 20% down payment. And I made the assumption the borrower has a FICO score of 781 or higher. So
that's a good FICO.
It's a pretty good FICO score, right? And once a borrower gets to 781 or higher, he could be 815 or 782, and the pricing would be exactly the same. So that is the highest tier for credit scoring, or for pricing, let's say.
Gotcha.
So if we did a loan today at a particular, we fund it with our money here at Pacific West, and then we sell the loans when we're done. So the difference, or the price between a loan at 5.25 and 4.99, just below 5, is just about 90 basis points or 0.9% of the loan amount. So if you multiply, the loan amount of 520 times zero point 0.9, that's $4,680 discount to buy the rate down. So
And
you
that's
asked,
getting a half a point?
it's not quite a half, it's almost 3/8. And the difference in payment is a payment of, uh, based on the interest rate of 5.25, the payment would be 2871. At I said 499. It's 2791. So what's that? About $90, right?
Yep.
Um,
So over the
so
life of the loan, that's
right. So 4680. That's the discount cost divided by 90. The recoup is 52 months. Not so bad, right? Even if the borrower or the buyer were paying for the discount, well, this is a little better. The seller's paying for the discount.
well. Let's hold our horses, because there's another thing we need to look at, which is, from a cash flow analysis, that savings, if I'm putting that into my IRA, let's say, that's going to have an internal rate of return that's going to pay more than that. So
Could
to
be,
me,
yeah.
that makes more sense now if I'm looking at it that way.
Right. Right. It doesn't always benefit the borrower, depending on their situation, to buy a rate down,
But if
especially
I
if
can
they're
get the
spending
seller to
their
pay
own.
for it,
Exactly. If you have the
all
seller
right.
to pay for it, it doesn't much matter, right?
Come on, sellers, cough it up, baby.
Right. And even if the listing agent and the seller decided, well, let's do that, but let's bump the price of the house up slightly to cover it. I mean, if you really think about it, if you added $4,600 to the loan balance or to the purchase price, you're still taking 80% of that difference, right? 4680. In the grand scheme of things, the buyer comes out way ahead on that
Excellent.
particular transaction. So, not always will a buyer come out ahead if they are paying the discount themselves. I do that calculation for people over and over every month. And unless they plan on staying in this house for 30 years or 15, or it's maybe a forever house, I don't see having the buyer buy it down and fronting essentially interest payments is such a great idea.
Seller, no problem. Well,
Seller,
Mike,
absolutely.
thanks for coming by. Guys, if you're watching this and have other questions, we're going to be doing this on a weekly basis. So please email me at 72solddave@gmail.com, and we'll see if we can get your question answered on the show. Mike, how can we get a hold of you for information on mortgages, even to start a mortgage?
Well, I could be reached at michael@pacwestlending.com, or you can log on to my quick loan app and log on and send me an email or apply online, or go to my website, pacwestlending.com.
All right.
Many ways to get a hold of me.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you
All
next
right.
week.
Thanks, Dave. See ya.